Creating videos with HyperFrames can be as simple as writing a prompt. But what if you want just a little more control? Maybe you want to change some text, move an element, or adjust the timing of an animation. That's exactly where the timeline editor comes in. And by the end of this lesson, you'll know how to navigate the editor, make quick changes, and confidently edit the HyperFrames project. Hi, I'm Michael with HeyGen, and welcome back to the HyperFrames for Beginners series. So what exactly is a timeline editor? Simply put, it's a visual timeline like you'd find in any other video editor, showing every scene clip and animation that is in your project laid out in order. Except here, it's tied directly to the real code running underneath. And once you're in there, it lets you do three things. First, see your project visually, then see your actual code behind it, and manually adjust whatever you want. Here's why that's actually a big deal. Seeing your project means what you see is really what you get. No surprises. Seeing the code means nothing here is some mysterious black box, and making manual adjustments means when your video is 99% perfect, you don't have to nuke the whole thing just to fix that 1%. To help you follow along in the series, I'll drop timestamps below so you can jump straight to whatever you need. But if this is your first time here, stick around because it's all going to build on itself. First up, the preview window. This is where you actually watch your video happen in real time as you make changes. You see this toggle up top? Storyboard and preview. Preview is exactly what it sounds like. Once selected, in this area, you'll see the window in which you can preview the visuals playing back in real time. Storyboard is your planning view, scene by scene. And if a project doesn't have one yet, Studio just tells you, right here, no storyboard yet. Plus a ready-made prompt that you can copy and hand straight to your coding agent. I usually hand mine back to Claude and let it build the whole thing out for me. Now let me demonstrate what happens if you hover over an element within the preview window. Like this logo, for instance. You will see a green outline pop up. That's Studio saying, yep, you can click on this. Now if you click it, that outline turns into a dash border, and that's your confirmation that it's selected. And the moment it's selected, Studio throws open the inspector on the right automatically. Once something's selected, you'll notice a few points around it. You can grab it like this and resize it. Or you can grab at this point and you can rotate it in case you want to add some dynamic or creative touches. Same deal on text. You can click on it and the same dashborders appear with the same handles. So you can resize it, rotate it, and whatever the moment calls for. All right, let's head over to the left sidebar and see what's waiting for us there. Now let's look left. 4 tabs live in this sidebar. Code is where your actual HTML and CSS live, along with the markdown files like that storyboard MD we just created. If you're comfortable in there, you can edit directly. Want to adjust something about the video? That usually means editing the index.html file. In the comps or compositions, this breaks your project into scenes, 1 thumbnail each, so you can jump straight into the part you want instead of scrubbing around. Assets is your media library. Drop in your own photo, video, or logo, and it's ready to drag into your canvas. But it also reveals every asset Claude already used to build this project, laid out in full view. Nothing's hidden back there either. And then, my personal favorite, the catalog. This is a full library of pre-built blocks, captions, code, animations, visual effects, transitions, you name it. Hover over anything you like, and 2 options will pop up. Add drops it straight into your composition, and Ask Agent hands you a ready-made prompt, pre-filled with exactly where you are in your project, to copy over to your AI agent instead. Sound familiar? It's the same trick as that storyboard prompt from earlier. Either way, you're never starting from a blank page in Studio. Okay, let's navigate to the timeline area. Every piece of your project, whether it's video, audio, or whole scenes, live on its own in the track down here. Drag a clip left or right, and you're changing where it plays. Drag it up or down, and you're changing which layer it's on. And a quick rule to remember, whatever's on top visually renders on top. Great for captions and lower thirds. Up top, you'll see the numbers ticking by. That's your ruler, showing exactly how many seconds have elapsed and where everything sits. Now, the toolbar itself, the arrow is your selection tool. Click it, and you can select any item within the timeline editor. Grab the scissors, and you can drag your cursor along the timeline to move the playhead, then cut right at that exact point, just like this. Now, if you're wondering about this diamond icon, that's a keyframe, a point in time where an animation starts or stops. Let's do a quick real example. I'll select one of these shapes, then click this diamond icon to set my first keyframe, slide the playhead along the timeline, and move the shape to wherever I want it to land at that point in time. Now let's play it back and see what happens. And this red diamond right beside it is a recording toggle. Turn it on and HyperFrames will watch your movements as you drag things around and automatically turn them into keyframes for you. Now, we're not going to get into this further right now, but it's a genuinely powerful feature. One we'll cover in a future video. Then there's the split at playhead, which works a bit differently. Instead of dragging to find your cut, you can set the split point at the playhead and it cuts the selected items exactly there. And then there's this one. This looks like a little snare drum. This is your option to add music tracks with a beat analysis so you can place your beats precisely. On the other side of the toolbar, you'll find your zoom controls. If you click on Fit, it brings every element into view at once. And you've also got zoom in and zoom out to make the timeline bigger or smaller. Okay, and that's the timeline editor. Let's move on to the right panel and take a look at the inspector. Before we get into the right panel itself, a quick tour of the rest of the top toolbar. Undo and redo live right up here. Let's say I move this shape and then change my mind. I can click on undo and it will go back to where it was. If I click redo, and it goes back to where I put it. Next to that, capture. Click it and it grabs a still frame of whatever's showing in the preview window at the moment. Now for the inspector. Now inspector is actually a toggle. If you click it, the whole right panel hides or it will reveal itself. And then the big one, of course, export in green. Click it and two things will happen at once. It jumps you straight to the renders tab and it kicks off the export immediately using whatever settings are already set. Now below that, in the inspector, there are 5 tabs: Design, Layers, Renders, Slideshow, and Variables. Layers show the full stack for whatever scene you're on, nested exactly how it's built. Click anything in that list, and Design opens right below it. Here's the part I love. It's not the same panel every time. If you click on the logo, you'll notice it's an SVG file, and you get fill, stroke, timing, and all of the other options associated with an SVG. Click our on-camera narrator clip, and now you've got playback rate, volume, exactly where the video starts playing from, because that's a real video element, not a shape on screen. It's the same panel, but totally different toolkit, depending on what you clicked. Studio's reading the actual elements, not showing you some generic menu. And once everything looks right, head to the renders. In the renders tab, you see format, with a little help icon if you're ever not sure what a setting does. You also have resolution, frame rate, and quality. In format, we have the option for MP4, MOV in ProRes, and WebM. For the frame rate, I can decide if I want it in 24 FPS, 30 FPS, or 60 FPS. And hey, if I want to make a change to the resolution, I can. Let's say I want this video in 4K. I can do that right here. When it comes to the quality, I can choose between a draft, standard, and high quality. Now when you're done, you can hit this export button right here, and same as the green one on top, it kicks off your renders immediately. Right now it says no renders yet. Export something and it shows up right there instead, with its own progress. One more tab worth knowing, variables. This is where you turn parts of your competition into a swappable slot, like a headline, a color, a price. So the exact same project can render dozens of different versions without rebuilding anything. This particular composition doesn't have any declared yet, but hit add variable, give it a type, and Studio remembers it every time you render. So that's a timeline editor start to finish. HyperFrames will always do the heavy lifting for you, but now when you want to nudge something, tweak something, or make it a chef's kiss, you know exactly where to go. If you've got any questions, feel free to check the comments. I've also linked some resources to the knowledge docs on the timeline editor in the description. And if there's anything you want us to cover in more detail within the timeline editor, let us know in the comments as well. I read all of them as much as I can. That's it for this one in this series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.